All right, everyone, get ready because today we're going deep, really deep, into the cosmic brain hypothesis. Yeah, that idea that we humans, we might actually be like neurons in a giant brain, except this brain isn't in our heads. This one encompasses the entire universe. We'll be looking at an article that really dives into this, and let me tell you, just skimming it blew my mind.
That's a wild idea, right?
Absolutely. So for those of you who haven't encountered this concept before, let's start with the basics. What is the cosmic brain hypothesis?
Well, it proposes that just like our brains have neurons that form networks, and those networks create consciousness, well, the hypothesis suggests that maybe. Individual human consciousnesses, they're all interconnected, like neurons, and together they form a much larger consciousness, a universal one.
Okay, so we're not just talking about a brain in our heads. We're talking about a brain that's the entire universe. That's a big jump. But the article says there's science behind it, not just philosophy, right?
Right. The article talks about how network science and neural modeling are advancing, and they're adding some weight to this idea. Think about it. All our thoughts, our actions, even our relationships, all these complex interactions, they could be like neural pathways forming and strengthening in a huge cosmic brain.
I see the parallels. But our brains learn and adapt based on experiences. Does the cosmic brain hypothesis say the universe does too?
It does. The article brings up this difference between learning from the environment versus being trained by the environment.
Yeah.
Just like with artificial neural networks, you can have systems that learn on their own and systems that are guided, trained. So the question becomes, is humanity just figuring things out by itself? Or is there something training us, some kind of cosmic force?
So like a cosmic puppet master.
Not necessarily a puppet master, more like maybe there are mechanisms in place that gently push us in certain directions. Imagine if certain societal behaviors were rewarded, but on a cosmic scale. That would lead to a more unified and complex universal consciousness.
Okay, wait. Rewarded by what? And who's giving out the rewards? This is getting pretty mysterious.
Exactly. This is a big question about the cosmic brain. If there are these rewards, what are they and what's behind them? The article doesn't have all the answers, but it does offer some interesting possibilities.
Okay, I'm hooked. What are some of those possibilities?
Well, one of them involves degrees of freedom. It's mentioned in the article in relation to self-awareness.
Degrees of freedom. I'm no physicist, so might have to explain that one for me and everyone listening.
Sure. Think of degrees of freedom as the number of choices you have in a specific situation. More degrees of freedom mean you can have more complex actions and interactions. The article argues that increasing complexity leads to greater self-awareness.
So is the idea that as humanity evolves and we get more complex with our interactions and our choices, we're contributing to the universe becoming self-aware.
That's one way to look at it. And it's connected to another fascinating concept, the inference problem.
Okay, tell me about the inference problem.
For a system to be self-aware, it needs to know what actions are its own and which ones are someone else's in our brains. That means knowing which neuron fired. But on a cosmic scale, how does the universe distinguish its own actions from the actions of all the individual consciousnesses within it? That's the inference problem.
Wow, it's like trying to hear one voice in a stadium full of people cheering. Tough even for us, let alone the universe. So how does the article say the universe might solve this problem?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. The article looks at an example from biology, embryonic development. Embryonic development. It's this amazing process where you start with one fertilized egg, it divides and differentiates, and each cell takes on a specific role to build a whole organism.
Right, each cell does its job, and they all work together.
Exactly. And here's the thing. If you disrupt this process even a little, you can end up with multiple embryos.
Like twins.
Yes, twins are a great example
Right.
of how even a small change in self-organization can create separate individuals.
So are you saying maybe something like that happened on a cosmic scale? Could the universe have twins?
It's a wild idea, but some physicists suggest that in the very early universe, the conditions might have been right for multiple branches of consciousness to form, like twins from one egg. Each branch would be its own cosmic brain, with its own experiences, maybe even its own laws of physics.
So instead of one giant cosmic brain, we could have a multiverse of cosmic brains, each evolving on its own.
It's a possibility, and it raises even more questions. Could these separate cosmic brains interact? Could they communicate or even merge together?
That's getting into science fiction territory. But it's a fascinating thought. This whole conversation is making me look at the universe differently. It's humbling. And amazing to think we might be part of this huge interconnected system.
That feeling of interconnectedness, that's at the core of the cosmic brain hypothesis. It makes us question everything we think we know about our place in the cosmos, about the nature of reality itself.
It's powerful. But let's get practical for a second. Let's say this hypothesis is true. We're all part of this giant cosmic brain. What does that mean for our daily lives? How should we live knowing this?
That's a great question. There's no easy answer. But I think it highlights how important connection is. Connection with each other and with the universe.
So be kind to your fellow neurons.
Exactly. Everything we do, our thoughts, actions, interactions, they could affect the health of this cosmic brain. It adds a whole new level of meaning to global consciousness and collective responsibility.
It makes you think about the impact of our choices. If we're all connected, our actions could ripple out, not just affecting those around us, but maybe the whole universe.
Precisely. It's humbling to realize we might have a bigger influence than we thought.
Hold on, this is getting really mind-blowing. If our thoughts and actions can influence the cosmic brain, could we steer its evolution? Could we shape the future of the universe?
That's a question that really pushes the limits of what we know. But if the cosmic brain hypothesis is true, it suggests we might have a role in how cosmic consciousness develops.
Wow. We're not just watching the universe, we're active participants.
It is, and it opens up so many possibilities. If we're all interconnected, maybe we can use that connection to achieve something truly amazing.
This conversation has been incredible. We've gone from tiny neurons to the vastness of the universe, and it all feels connected.
That feeling of interconnectedness, that's the heart of it all. We're not isolated, we're part of something much bigger.
And if that's true, maybe understanding this cosmic brain could help us unlock our full potential. Like we found a cosmic instruction manual, but we're still figuring out the language.
Exactly. It's a journey of discovery, and we're just at the beginning. But the possibilities are incredible.
All right, I think I finally caught my breath. My brain needed a minute to process all that. Talking about the entire universe as a brain. It's a lot, but it's also super exciting. It's like we could unlock the secrets of the universe by understanding our place in it.
It is exciting, isn't it?
Totally. But like we were saying, it's like we found this amazing instruction manual, but we don't know how to read it. So where do we even start? How do we understand something as big and complex as a universal consciousness?
Well, I think we need to look inward. If we're neurons in this cosmic brain, then the best way to understand it might be to understand ourselves, our own consciousness.
So by studying our own brains, we can start to figure out how this cosmic brain works.
Exactly. And we've made such progress in neuroscience. We're mapping neural pathways, decoding brain activity. We're even creating AI that thinks like us.
Speaking of AI, do you think our progress with AI can help us understand the cosmic brain better?
It's an interesting thought. As AI gets more sophisticated, we see these things called emergent properties.
Emergent properties? Remind me what those are again.
They're like behaviors or characteristics that come from complex interactions of simpler things, like individual neurons aren't conscious, but when billions of them connect, consciousness emerges.
Right. So you're saying by studying how complexity creates intelligence in AI, we might learn how something similar happened on a cosmic scale.
Exactly. It's like reverse engineering the universe.
Okay, I get it. But even if we crack the code of consciousness, how do we communicate with this cosmic brain? We can't just call it up, can we?
Maybe not a phone call, but there might be other ways to connect. Some people believe that meditation, deep thought, even some advanced technology might let us tap into this cosmic network. It's about finding new ways to perceive and interact with reality.
So like sending out cosmic vibes instead of text messages.
Something like that. If consciousness is a fundamental part of the universe, like the cosmic brain hypothesis suggests, then there might be ways to connect with it, ways we haven't even imagined yet.
Wow, this whole deep dive has been incredible. So many questions. What would you say is the biggest takeaway for our listeners? What do we do with all this mind-blowing information?
I think the most important thing is to stay curious, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep pushing the boundaries of what we know. The cosmic brain hypothesis reminds us that our understanding of the universe is always changing.
It's a call to embrace the mystery, to keep searching for those connections.
Exactly. The more we learn about ourselves and the universe, the closer we get to understanding our place in it all.
Well said. This has been a wild ride. I'm sure our listeners are feeling inspired to keep exploring these ideas. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the cosmic unknown.
It was my pleasure.
And to everyone listening, Keep looking up at the stars. Keep asking the big questions. And who knows, maybe someday we'll truly understand the secrets of the cosmic brain. Until then, keep those minds open and keep those cosmic vibes flowing.